not yet arrested by the army, which at this stage appears to have given its allegiance to the new government. But on the upside, what have we got? We've got local neighbourhoods are organising themselves into committees and raising militia to defend themselves in cooperation with the army and trade union and so-called kind of far-left groups. Yes, sure, we've heard it on the news, seen it in the papers. We've had looters. And supermarkets have been looted, but also targeted have been banks, businesses, car brands, and the houses connected to Ben Ali and his family. And I mean, we're talking about a hugely corrupt regime. The press have been talking about, is it the Twitter revolution or the WikiLeaks revolution? You've got absolute an economic boom in some ways for some people, for that ruling family, which has kept a mass populace of the poor. But a recent WikiLeaks diplomatic leak has told us that Ben Ali's brother-in-law had flown in ice cream from Saint-Tropez for a dinner party. So you can see why people are attacking the house there. So apparently, I heard on the BBC today that when they were attacking it by the outside pool, one of the protesters saw a lobster lying on the ground and he said, well, they weren't eating bread, were they? So what next? Well, there's a political vacuum in Tunisia. If you like across much of the Arab world, we've got kind of two sorts of opposition. An official left, a left kind of co-opted into the new government that has had dealings with the old regime. And if you like, a real opposition, they can ban organisations. That real opposition is now calling for the formation of a constituent assembly that can put forward a new constitution for the country, you know, because they're arguing that elections under the present one would only re-establish the old regime. But what we've got really is a lot of stuff swinging in the balance, you know. What way is this going to go? That's the excitement, isn't it? You know, are the workers going to take over and move this forward? Or is it going to stop, you know, a revolution that's got rid of a corrupt dictator and introduce some kind of so-called Western-style democratic-type government? And it's kind of edge of seat time, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if I'm the only one, I hope not, but it's just so bloody exciting, you know. So what about for the rest of the Arab world? Well, similar economic and social conditions as that are in Tunisia exist across that. There have been protests in Algeria, Jordan, Egypt, and Moravia. The Arab League have been surprisingly quiet on the revolt in Tunisia, apart from your mate and mine, Colonel Gaddafi, who finds himself yet again on the wrong side. You know, but what are these countries doing? They're offering economic concessions, you know, to try and stem a kind of revolutionary tide. There's a fabulous quote today, and thank you for sending it to me, Nicola, from the Financial Times about Kuwait. This was released yesterday. It says, Kuwait this week said all citizens would receive a 1,000 Kuwaiti dollar, 3,500 US dollar grant and 3 food staples for 13 months to celebrate the 50th anniversary of independence and also mark 2 other anniversaries. Well, who knew the Kuwaiti state was so magnanimous? You know, I mean, brilliant. You know, this is a state where you've got another family fiefdom at its head, and you know, what are they trying to do? They're feeling the pinch. They're having to buy off workers here from struggling. But actually, even these things can't stop the protests that are happening throughout the Middle East. We've had 6 other young men have set themselves alight across 4 countries in the last few days. In Algeria, several attempts to protest at the Tunisian embassy have been brutally stopped by police. But Algeria has introduced kind of food subsidies. Protests took place in Jordan, Lebanon and Egypt. Protesters shouted slogans supporting the Tunisian revolution and for the bringing down of all Arab regimes. And apparently in Egypt, they were shouting when it's heard that the plane had taken Perreira away, can I bring the plane here and take me back, you know, and that's just bloody fantastic, you know. But it's not just rocking the Arab world. Again, an article in yesterday's Financial Times was entitled, "How did the world get Tunisia so wrong?" Ben Ali, he wasn't just another Arab autocrat, but he was a kind of superstar in Europe. He was admired for developing the Tunisian economy and maintaining stability in the face of religious extremism kind of in the region. And the FT goes on to say that the EU and the World Bank kind of turned the proverbial blind eye to human rights abuses in Tunisia. Interestingly aside, of course, we had the Obama and the Chinese president thing yesterday when apparently the Chinese president didn't answer the question on human rights because there was something wrong with the PA system. But we're getting this wringing of hands and so on from the Western kind of capitalist press about, you know, how did we get it so wrong around Tunisia. There were big demonstrations in France last weekend of thousands of people in Paris and Marseille, where there's a big kind of Tunisian kind of population, and it's going onto the streets there. And what did we have? What did we see the French Interior Minister say when the revolution started? Not supporting Tunisia, not supporting a workers' revolution. Well, I'm not surprised about that. But also to send French police and troops there to quell the rebellion. So that's France's line on it. So, how am I for time? Yeah. Okay. I can't possibly cover everything, and I kind of lead off like this, but I hope I've given you a bit of my excitement and kind of passion about a revolutionary situation that's unfolding. But I suppose I wanted to preempt some of the issues that we might want to discuss, you know, in contributions from the floor. I'm not holding anybody to it, but, you know, how are the revolutionary demands going to be progressed? The role of the Revolutionary Party, what the spreading of the uprising might mean across the Arab world and beyond, implications, if you like, for the whole Intifada and kind of Palestinian question. And I think something that we miss sometimes, we think the revolutions are a long way from home. You know, but what do we do here to make the impossible possible? So we are mixed for the revolution, or possible revolution in Tunisia. And I found a quote in this week's Socialist Worker from a Lebanese socialist, and I think he summed it up and pulled it. He could have written my introduction from it, pulled it together better than I could. He said, "The balance of power in Tunisia is still unclear. What is clear is that the Tunisian revolution is highly significant. For many across the Arab world, it shows things that once seemed impossible can be attained through a mass movement. It shows that change can be carried out through activity on the streets, not through bureaucratic debates in the parliament or the cabinet. And it shows that the battle for change still carries hope after decades of oppression and despotism. Arab rulers know that the economic and political situation across all Middle Eastern countries has much in common with that in Tunisia. It's enough to give them sleepless nights." Let's work to give them all sleepless nights. Thanks.